And a big good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Motorsport.ie LMP2 Cup round number 3. Here, brought to you by Gantry TV on RTA Virtual Motorsports. We return tonight to the famous Spa Francorchamps, and it is certainly my first time commentating on RTA here at Spa, but we had the Endurance Series here a few months ago, and it is a very interesting circuit, especially when you get prototypes such as the Dallara P217. But more on that car later. It has been a fabulous season so far. 2 rounds, of course. We'll run you through the standings in a couple of moments. Should more introduce who's here on the stream, of course. My name's Dalton, and as always, it is Ronan Hederman behind the scenes. You are used to us now. Last week in Imola was a cracker. Certainly for heat number 3. Heat 1, heat 2, we could have skipped them. The end of heat 2 and heat 3 were absolute barnstormers, and it was Ronan Doherty, Jason Smith, and Sean McClemens all taking wins last week in Imola. Doherty in the first race, then Smith and McClemens as follows. But neither of the three top of the standings. There is one name who is galloping ahead, and that is Dylan McClemens, who is at the top of the order with 156 points. Rory O'Shea in second on 119, Peter McCann in third on 116, Sean McClemens in fourth on 114. So it's very close from second to fourth. Fifth place then, Connor Melia. Consistency has been key for him on 91. Jason Smith in sixth on 89. Then Michael O'Donoghue. Oh, Jason Smith actually on 88. Apologies. Michael O'Donoghue is actually on 88. Sorry about that, folks. So Jason Smith on 89, Michael O'Donoghue on 88, Jordan Kelly on 82. Actually, that makes sense now, because if he was on 45 and ahead of a guy on 82, yeah, so that makes sense. Michael O'Donoghue on 88, Jordan Kelly on 82, then Logan Hoy on 77, and Brandon McCaughton on 66. Yeah, Michael won 2 races, so being on 45 would have been wrong. But an interesting mix in the standings. And I tell you what, it's only going to get more interesting tonight, folks, because Ronan Doherty not here, Jordan Kelly not here, Michael O'Donoghue not here. So there's the potential for a big shake-up in the championship order. And top of the practice times is Jason Smith, who I think is running at a slightly more normal sort of brain processing function than last week, where he went for some big moves. As this car spun off there through campus. But Jason Smith went for some big moves last week, went for some crazy overtakes, pulled the majority of them off, to be fair. But the pace was there, and he's looking to continue that pace on in towards Pujon. An interesting thing is, of course, as you will well know, we have our RTA Virtual Motorsport Awards at the end of every season. Jason Smith entering this week means he is no longer eligible for the Jason Smith Award, or the Jason Smith Perpetual Trophy. I can't remember the name of it. Peter McCann will be able to tell you. But fair play to Jason Smith for being here 3 weeks on the bounce. Robbie Callahan has not got a win on the board yet in the LMP2 Cup. And last week wasn't really a week to remember. It's not really been a season to remember so far for Robbie Callahan. And Robbie, of course, came into this season with 3 wins in the final two or 3 weeks, I think, of the Motorsport.ie Formula V Championship. Was only 15th in the championship running, but was certainly on the back of a strong string of results. So he'd like to pick up that form here this evening, and there's a real opportunity, of course, as we said, with the absence of Jordan Kelly, Ronan Doherty, and Michael O'Donoghue. There's going to be a lot of interesting factors here this evening. One factor I'm hoping for, or one factor I'm not hoping for, is a full formation lap, because of course this is Spa-Francorchamps. It's a 7.004 kilometer circuit, 4.352 miles. If you're a Formula 1 fan, well, there's a lot of history around here, of course, folks. The longest circuit on the calendar. The fastest ever top speed here was 362 kilometers per hour. And if you are a Formula 1 fan, this one won't make sense to you either, because that was by Charles Leclerc in 2020. The year where Ferrari were notoriously known for having a terrible car. But that's the fastest top speed ever here. My academic interpretation of it is that it was a triple slipstream down the Kemmel Straight, which I'm sure we will see here this evening. We usually see the McClemens brothers slipstream each other in all qualifying sessions, so that will be a crucial point for those guys to emphasize if they want to try take pole. Full throttle will be used for about 70% of the lap. Might be a little bit more even in this LMP2, but about 70% of the lap is a good estimate. And you kind of want to stay flat for as long as possible, especially through this corner, the Pujon corner. The track here, of course, was first used in 1925, one of the older circuits on the calendar for the Motorsport.ie LMP2 Cup. But it was first used in Formula 1, of course, in 1950, the first ever season, and it's remained there for almost the entire duration. Of course, stopped a couple of times because of safety issues. Was stopped actually once due to a ban on tobacco advertising. That was in 2006. We won't get into that though, and we certainly won't be getting into Belgian politics here on a Gantry TV stream. But qualifying, thankfully, is about to get underway properly, as just hearing in my ear, Ronan Doherty has decided to show up. So that's another driver to keep an eye out on. We thought there was going to be a no-show from him, but he has in fact shown up, and Ronan Doherty is here and will be looking to try and continue on his 100% success rate of pole positions. So we're looking at, I believe that's Aaron Dalton, heading in towards Eau Rouge and Raidillon, one of the most famous corners in the sporting world. It is Logan Hoy. They both have the same livery, but this one is Logan Hoy. And what way can I group them together? The ICC or Mini drivers have been told to behave themselves here this evening, so we'll keep an eye on Logan Hoy, Kyle Irvine and TJ Taff. Here is an overtake already in qualifying, as purple in the first sector splits goes to Jason Smith. The two McClements brothers have been told to, or two McClements brothers are slower than Jason. We will ride on board with someone later on in the session. We'll keep an eye on Jason Smith for now. Heads through the X curve, sometimes known as No Name. It has a couple of names, ironically, one of them being No Name, but Jason Smith through Pujon and down towards the campus chicane of turn number 13 and turn number 14. Just want to keep it as smooth as possible through this section of circuit. You don't want to run onto the gravel on the right-hand side, or certainly the gravel on the left-hand side, heading through Stavelot of turn number 15. Very small curb there. There used to be a nice thick curb, but it has been changed by the organisers here in recent past. Of course, this Francorchamps circuit getting a recent update from iRacing, getting a recent change, and I think it looks the better of it. Certainly, drivers have been enjoying it a little bit more. It's a little bit of a different challenge. And some of the raw racing aspects of, if you run wide, you go into the gravel, not necessarily picking up 1Xs or 2Xs or any of that shenanigans. So, banker time will be set by Jason Smith up and across the start-finish line, and he will just pip Sean McClements there in second. Robbie Callahan is able to go to third. We will wait more times to go. Here is Jason Smith then. Let's ride on board with him as he exits turn number 1, La Source, named after the nearby river, and in towards Eau Rouge and Raidillon. A quick flick to the left, then you're through the turn number 4, and then the little kink through turn number 5. Bounce over that curb. Try to extend it as much as possible on exit, although Jason Smith doesn't do that. And then you are onto the Kemmel Straight, the longest straight on the circuit. There's a lot of flat out sections, but this is the longest in a straight line. Braking for the Lacombe chicane, turn number 7, turn number 8, and then just prepare yourself for turn number 9. This is of Malmedy. Try cut as much of the inside as you can, because the gravel appears very quickly on that left hand side. Then the Bruxelles hairpin, named of course after the capital city, in through turn number 10. Get as close to that apex as possible and then drive out of the corner. Prepare yourself for the X curve. No curbing on the outside here like there used to be, of course. That was part of that recent update. Then it's down towards Pujon. Here you have just got to hold on for dear life. Try keep it as flat as possible. Use all the revs that you can avail of, and then just run it right out wide through the exit of the corner. Campus chicane then. Turn number 13. Smith, very, very wide for the first part. Will try tighten it up for the second, but would have lost a lot of lap time there, missing that apex by as much as he did. Then it is Stavelot, and you want to just rotate the car through there. Multiple inputs being put in by Jason Smith. Through the curve of Paul Frere, then you've got to just keep it as close to that curb on the inside line. Although if you pick up a bit too much of that curb, sometimes it can rotate you around, and that is the last thing you want. Then it's flat out through Blanchimont. Turn number 17, a really, really weird approach to the corner by Jason Smith. Usually you'd run out and then cut in, like any regular corner. Then it's the bus stop chicane, the final section. And of course, that was revamped not too long ago. Up towards the start-finish line then for Jason Smith. I'll be surprised if this is quicker, in all honesty. No, it isn't. Still a great onboard for Jason Smith. You can see the challenges of this circuit, but absolutely no improvement whatsoever, and Jason Smith will have to try again. Rory O'Shea in second. It's not taken Doherty long to get up to speed. He's in third. Then it is Robbie Callaghan in fourth. Leo Richardson there in fifth. I know it says Jeff Richardson. I unfortunately fell for that trick as well. It's not a trick. He's just racing on a different iRacing account, but it is Leo Richardson. There in fifth. Dylan McClements there in sixth, and his brother Sean McClements in seventh. Peter McCann in eighth. Brian McCarthy in ninth. Then it's Kevin Joyce, who is in 10th. Logan Hoy in 11th. Ahead of CJ O'Sullivan in 12th. Dermot Toomey in 13th. Philip Upson 14th. TJ Taff goes to 15th position. Then Zenda Farrell in 16th. And Jamal Gandor in 17th. As that jump scared me. I imagine it scared TJ Taff. And that was one of the Ferrari LMP2 liveries, I think, that was spun around at the first corner. It wasn't Logan Hoy, because we see him exiting Malmedy. It was, it was Gary Corcoran who was spun round. Looks more like a McDonald's livery than a Ferrari livery for Gary in the red and yellow. Here's Brandon McCaughton. Got his first race podium, I should say, last time out in Imola, and said he was embracing the challenge of these LMP2s. And did a good job indeed. Has a good position in the standings, certainly for a first-timer here in RTA Virtual Motorsport. There's a lot to get used to here in this championship, whether it be the nature of the races, 3 heats and then 1 being reversed, whether it be the antics of Peter McCann. There's a lot to familiarise yourself with here in RTA. Speaking of the devil, he's pulling off to the grass and letting the Inter-Europol car through. I can't remember whose livery it is, but it is an Inter-Europol LMP2 car. I find that very cool. I think it's a very cool livery. They won Le Mans in 2023, of course, Inter-Europol, with Fabio Scherer at the wheel, the broken foot man. As that is unintentional but brilliant directing from Ronan Hederman, because here's another man who broke his toe and kept racing. Sean McClements in 7th place. That one's worked out a treat. Up towards the start-finish line now. We'll see, is he able to improve? No. He's just preparing for a lap now down in towards La Source. 9 minutes gone. We have 15 here in qualifying. Here's Leo Richardson, who's having a great session so far in 5th spot. We'll see if Leo can improve and maybe even jump Robbie Callaghan or Ronan Doherty. No, there's a big gap between those two. As Robbie Callaghan, I should say, about 0.5 of a second ahead of Leo Richardson there in 5th position. Robbie running the tricolour as per usual. We haven't had a proper debunk of liveries. We had a brief up with Kieran McGinley in Portimao, but we haven't had a proper nerd out at the liveries of the field like we used to. There's not as many meaningful ones maybe as the Formula Vs. I know in the Formula Vs you had Conor Melia, who ran his own Formula V livery, Ronan, who ran his own Formula V livery, Grace McCallion, I think, ran her dad's Formula V livery, Robbie ran the tricolour. We had, of course, a couple of seasons ago, Jamal Gandor's very interesting interpretation at a race livery in mid-Ohio. Go back and watch that stream if you don't know what we're talking about. It's not a hard find, as Jamal running the Simsa livery. Once again, his own organisation is Jamal Gandor. 1 podium in the Mustang America's Cup. No podiums in the Formula Vs, but he did beat his Mustang America's Cup points total, so consistency really was key for Jamal Gandor. 166 points it was last time in the Formula V Championship, 16th in the standings. He first started competitively sim racing in 1996, and why I'm emphasising that point is this goes to show how much experience Jamal has. I was -9, so Jamal has been around these parts for quite some time, and he plans on using that experience here in the LMP2s. We're getting towards the dying embers of qualifying here in Spa-Francorchamps. We have less than 5 minutes on the clock. And Ronan Doherty is looking to improve upon his time. The two in front of him, Jason Smith and Rory O'Shea, are both in the pit lane. He's just gone purple in the first sector. Remember, qualifying ends as soon as the clock strikes 15. There's no overrun. There is no extension of the clock. Here comes Ronan Doherty. It's going to be good enough for second. Doesn't quite beat Jason Smith, so Jason will be even more confident now. Ronan's best effort of the day so far, still not good enough to beat him. And of course, Ronan in here without practice this evening. Might have had some practice last night, but it was a bit of an interrupted session. We'll hear from Ronan hopefully later on tonight and ask him about that. Robbie Callahan braking for the Lacombe chicane. No improvement, no big improvements across the field, I should say. Finley Melvin, quick or a personal best in the first sector. There's an improvement for Peter McCann. He's able to jump to fifth. Let's have a look at Melvin heading through the chicane. Well, I can tell you why he's a personal best, and that's because he's got no time set. So that's why he's set a personal best so far. Finley will jump up just behind Logan Hoy in 15th. Kevin Joyce tracking quite well. He's personal best in all sectors so far and rounds through the bus stop now. You can just see towards the start-finish line, and that is going to be a big improvement for Kevin Joyce. Beats Leo Richardson there in 7th spot and is able to improve to 6th. I tell you what, that's a great qualifying so far from Kevin Joyce. He's ahead of Brandon McCott, ahead of both the McClements brothers, and doing a stellar job indeed. Here's Ken Doyle rounding through the final chicane. Ken Doyle, CJ O'Sullivan, they've not scored a top 10 finish outside of Heat 3. They've never not finished in the top 10 in Heat 3 so far this season. That's right on board with Enda Farrell then. He's the man in the Inter Europa livery, and see what he can do in the middle sector. Fairly nonchalant for Enda Farrell. He's not necessarily pushing to the limits of the circuit, but just looking to get a steady qualifying. Dylan McClemens has just beaten Kevin Joyce and Leo Richardson, and he's able to improve to 6th place. So that's better from Dylan McClemens. Second in the final heat in Imola, and the reason Sean won, says Sean himself. Dylan, no podiums in Heat 1 or Heat 2 in Imola, but he was on the podium in all 3 races in Portimao, so that's what's given him such a healthy championship lead. And Dylan scored big points in that Heat 3 when Ronan, when Jason, their heats went a-begging in that first lap incident involving Ronan Doherty, Rory O'Shea and Jason Smith. Here's Sebastian Schloten, one of 2 yet to set times, and Schloten comes across the line. It will be the slowest of the runners, but it is a classified time for Sebastian. The only man now not to set a time is Kyle Irvine, who I think was having some internet issues, so we'll have to see if Kyle does actually make the field. Jason Smith back out on circuit. Will he have enough time to even finish this lap? I don't think so. No, he's probably not in my ear, and I don't think he will. Dylan McClemens should be able to finish his lap. Whether he's improving on it is another thing. Brandon McCotton, personal best in the 3rd sector. Dylan McClemens not improving in the 2nd sector. And he's not exactly driving the wheels off the car right now. We'll see. No, definitely still pushing. As Brandon McCotton has just pipped him. So Dylan McClemens will be hoping for the fastest final sector of all time, as Jason Smith has just improved in the middle sector, but he's not going to get the lap in. So it's all for nothing for Jason Smith. Purely for confidence. No one is out on circuit ahead of Dylan McClemens, so this is a final opportunity for him, but he's not going to make the line. He's not going to make it. So it will matter not. And it will be Jason Smith who's on pole position here for the Motorsport.ie LMP2 Cup in Spa-Francorchamps. Misses it by a couple of metres, does Dylan McClemens. And I think that lap would have been good enough to beat Brandon McCartan as well. But Dylan will start alongside his fellow Antrim man. And here is confirmation of your results. It is Jason Smith, top of the order, and then Ronan Doherty in 2nd, Rory O'Shea in 3rd, Robbie Callahan in 4th, Peter McCann in 5th spot. Then it is Brandon McCartan in 6th, Dylan McClemens in 7th, Kevin Joyce in 8th, ahead of Leo Richardson in 9th, and Sean McClemens in 10th. CJ O'Sullivan in 11th, ahead of Brian McCarthy in 12th, and then it is Ken Doyle, Logan Hoy, David Prunty, ahead of Finley Melvin, then it's Dermot Toomey, and Farrell in 18th spot. Then it is Tony Stack, then it is Philip Upson, ahead of TJ Taft, Jamal Gandor, Gary Corcoran, Sebastian Schloten, and Kyle Irvine, who rounds out the field. Gonna bring in the man behind the scenes here, Ronan Hederman. for a quick comment. And the question I have for him is, that was probably one of the calmest qualifying sessions we've ever had.
Yeah, like, we've had a couple of seasons where the qualifying's been a bit rowdy. Let's just say that much. But yeah, that was quite calm and tame. But from Jason's onboard there, if you're pushing these cars to the limit, and you saw the way he got up on the curbs and everything with his car, these things really do fight back, which is quite surprising. Like the weather here is what 18 degrees, so like the track temp is kind of in an all right state. So you think there will be a bit more grip than there is, but Jason fought that car the whole way around the lap. So I'm I'm surprised that there's good running in that qualifying.
Us calling 18 degrees all right weather is rather insulting, isn't it? I don't think I've felt 18 degrees in this country since probably the summer of 21, but nonetheless, it's not it's perfect conditions for racing LMP2s around Spa. It could be a downpour, but we haven't given the drivers that burden to deal with. But it is Jason Smith on pole, Ronan Doherty alongside him in second. No love lost between these two. Could be interesting in towards the first corner as we are getting ready to go. They were side by side on two occasions to start the race last week in heat number 1 and in heat number 2. Doherty certainly got the jump in heat number 1, didn't as much in heat number 2, and Jason Smith got done by Rory O'Shea heading through the first corner. Ironically, Jason Smith decided that he wanted to lead last week's formation lineup, so Ronan Doherty returned the favour. Seems to be more well behaved. But already you can just see a little bit of mind games between the two. That second row, an interesting one as well. Robbie Callahan will be on the outside, heading in towards turn number 1, but we'll be looking to keep Rory O'Shea at bay. Speaking of liveries, Rory's another one who's ran a consistent livery. And I tell you what, it makes our life so much easier. As if you run a consistent livery, it... yes, he is in the high pre. Has Ronan slagging me behind the scenes. Not very fun. But yeah, Rory is in the high pre. There, it's off my tongue for this week. As what was I even saying? Yeah, it makes it easy for the commentators if you run consistent liveries. But, anyways, Jason Smith just keeping right behind the pace car, not letting it get much of a breath. And Ronan Doherty is certainly making him wait as well. You can see the two McClemenses, Brandon McCotton, all leaving a little bit of space in front. They want space to bolt into. But it's all very bunched up and all very tense heading through the bus stop chicane. And look, you can see Ronan Doherty just making sure that Jason Smith pulls no shenanigans. Oh, that's a beauty of a start as we go racing here in Spa-Francorchamps. Ronan Doherty's own trick has been used against him. Rory O'Shea looking for the move and will get the move done in towards turn number 1. He once again is a beneficiary of tomfoolery on the opening lap. Robbie Callahan and Peter McCann side by side as well. Doherty looking to fight back here in Eau Rouge and Radillon. Rory O'Shea has fallen behind and Ronan has got the jump. But Rory O'Shea will be tucked into the slipstream of Ronan Doherty and try and make the move down towards the Lake Home chicane. Look at this, Jason Smith clear in front, already has a second. He won't be under pressure. Ronan Doherty certainly will by O'Shea. Is he going to lunge up the inside? He isn't. Dylan McClement's looking for the move there in the purple and blue machine on Peter McCann, and McCann will hold off, and Dylan McClements is now going to try and hold off Brandon McCotton down in towards the hairpin. Here comes Dylan McClements right down the inside of Peter McCann. And all this contact made. Round goes the championship leader. Round goes Dylan McClements. Peter McCann has sent him spinning. I think Dylan was a little bit out of shape initially into the corner, but Peter McCann has not helped things, and Dylan McClements has been sent down the field. And when we were talking about how comfortable his championship lead was, it's all gone pretty much a begging here. Kevin Joyce with an opportunistic send down the inside. McCann seems to be struggling. Might have picked up a little bit of damage there potentially. Leo Richardson just defending from the two. CJ O'Sullivan there in 10th spot, a position he loves, just trying to stay behind as poor Jamal. Poor Jamal has had some trouble as well on the opening lap. He's behind Dylan McClements. Kyle Irvine hasn't been able to start, and disappointing there for Jamal Cantor as we're side by side. Heading through the right-hander of the curveball Frere. This is Finlay Melvin and David Prunty. I tell you what, I know it's been a little bit of a joke around these parts that Finley gets great race starts because of that infamous Brands Hatch race start. But in the last 3 weeks, he really has got off the line well. He really has made some moves on the opening lap, and Finley Melvin is up another 2 spots here in Spa-Francorchamps as we complete the first of what will only be about 5 laps here in the Ardennes Forest. It is still Jason Smith who is leading. Ronan Doherty, however, has caught up to him after his poor race start. Rory O'Shea there in third. Robbie Callaghan fourth, ahead of Brandon McCaughton in fifth. Then it is Leo Richardson in sixth, ahead of Kevin Joyce in seventh. Then it's this man, Peter McCann, in eighth, driver of the day from last week, tucked into the slipstream of Kevin Joyce in front. We'll see if he can make the move. Down towards the right-hander. Tucked up right behind Kevin Joyce is Peter, but there'll be no move on this occasion. Way too far back. He would need something straight out of a Daniel Ricciardo playbook to go for that one. Ken Doyle goes for the move on Melvin, and round goes Doyle. He will no longer be going for the move on Melvin, and he is in the gravel and has to try recover. And it's not looking like he is going to be able to recover. And there goes TJ Taff. That's another car gone round heading through the Lake-Holme chicane. That's now our fourth spinner or crasher that we've seen in the opening couple of laps here in Spa-Francorchamps. We lost Dylan McClements, Jamal Gandor. We have now lost Ken Doyle and TJ Taft. Dermot Toomey's had some trouble as well because he's still behind Taft, despite Taft having that clear hampering of his progress. Smith, however, still in front. Ronan Doherty in second. Let's see, does the gap close down much on the straight? I imagine it will, because there will be a little bit of a distance tow that Doherty will receive from Jason Smith. Not as much as Robbie Callaghan and Rory O'Shea, however. As there is quite a bit of spacing in the field. Brandon McCaughton 1.8-ish behind Robbie Callaghan. It's sort of the back markers that are still trying everything at it. And this is Tony Stack. I'm going to try and get past Enda Farrell. Tony representing the Alpine racing team, of course. He'll be booted out in round 7 if Alpine follow their traditions. Enda Farrell just about staying in front. As this is like real Le Mans. We had Alpine, Inter Europol and Ferrari all on the same set of track. We also have Sebastian Schloten spun round at the bus stop chicane, however, disappointingly. And that is a real shame there for him. Peter McCann, he's either piling on the pressure or being put under pressure through Eau Rouge and Radi. On this occasion, it is the latter, and it is Sean McClements who is right behind them. These two have had their fair share of controversial moments in the past, but have remained friends all the way through. After a various amount of curse words shared, I'm sure. Sean McClements with a brilliant switchback last week on Peter McCann. We almost saw a bit of a switchback attempt there from Leo Richardson, who's looking to try and go down the inside. Brandon McCaughton just looking to defend his position, and Brandon, in all honesty, not looking too hot here. He is struggling pace-wise, has definitely fallen off the front four, not able to keep up with them at all, and Leo Richardson is putting him under a lot of pressure. To be fair to Brandon, once you fall out of the slipstream here and you do have cars behind you, you are a little bit doomed, because once you don't get that slipstream, there's not an awful lot you can do. Gary Corcoran falling down the other, he's fallen behind Upson. And that seems to just be a mistake under his own accord for Gary. He will have to try a little bit better next time round to get back in front of those cars. Sean McClements, who we are on board with now, heading through Stavalo and the curve Paul Frere, right behind Peter McCann. Been in the middle of these two cars now for the opening 6-7 minutes of this race. Doesn't want to stay here, would admittedly like to be in front of them, but needs to just get an extra tenth or two. He wants to overtake Kevin Joyce. Kevin looking quite strong at the moment here in this heat. Kevin, as they say that, seems to have locked up into the bus stop and really wide. And just as we say, Kevin Joyce is looking strong. I was about to go on a tangent and say how he has one excellent week per year, it seems. He's now made an absolute hash of it, but thankfully has not lost a position to Peter McCann. Looking a little bit further up the front then, Rory O'Shea under pressure from Robbie Callaghan right behind. Callaghan looking to get on the podium for the first time this season. Rory O'Shea has had a handful of podiums already, 2 to be exact, both last week in Imola. Robbie Callaghan looking for the outside, heading into Lake Combe. He's going to be doing well to run it around the outside here. Rory O'Shea leaves adequate space. Robbie Callaghan couldn't find a way past. Great racing between the two, though, very fair. Callaghan just didn't have enough commitment to try and make the move. Peter McCann still now under pressure from Sean McClements, but also putting Kevin Joyce in a whole world of pain. Tries the dummy down the inside. Joyce doesn't fall for it. Just about stays in front. Prunty gets past Logan Hoy. That's in the battle for 13th. And you can see a big snap for David Prunty. He's done well to hold that one. Logan Hoy will or has not been really able to pounce on that one. Did a good job to David. Didn't lose an awful lot of time, despite with a little bit of a kick out of the rear. I'm sure our drifting fans watching would have enjoyed that one. But David Prunty staying in front for the time being. Peter McCann still in 8th spot, still putting pressure on the car in front. Not much has changed for Peter. We're only going to have one more lap left here in Belgium. It's short lap-wise, but of course it's still the same 10 minutes. It's just the lap is so long here in Belgium. Well over 2 minutes we're running here at the LMP2s. And Sean McClements, is he going to be able to lunge it down the inside into the bus stop? McCann's gone defensive, so Sean went for the move around the outside, it seemed, but just backed out of it. Tried to get the good exit. Runs a little bit over the paint on the right-hand side and wasn't able to get the job done. It's all just a little bit quiet. It's all a little bit quiet on the western front here. As Peter McCann, just as I say that, Kevin Joyce falls it behind. And Peter McCann sneaks down the inside. Joyce has, I wonder, was that a little bit tactical? Does he want the slipstream in towards Lake Combe? Because he's going to have a monster run up the hill now, and Peter McCann's got to get all elbows out. It's time to make this LMP2 3 times wider than it is. If you want to hold Kevin Joyce back in the number 3, heading in towards Lake Combe. Is he going to blast past McCann? No, McCann stays in front. Joyce commits to the inside line, heading into the chicane. Joyce breaks later than the 2. McCann swings it around the outside. You can see that one coming from a mile away. Kevin Joyce goes round. Was just clipped from the front from Peter McCann, and the strong efforts from Kevin Joyce in this heat all go a-begging. There goes David Prunty. He's not held it this time round. Just lost it while trying to get around the spun car of Kevin Joyce. And it's all kicking off, heading through the chicane. Dylan McClements, working his way back up the order, is just getting ahead of Logan Hoy, and you can see McClements has got a handful of spaces because of that move. Kevin Joyce, I don't think he'll have much damage, but he certainly is losing time. This is now CJ O'Sullivan looking to get past Sean McClements, and McClements has lost an awful lot of time because of that incident, as very wide goes in the Farrell. Himself and Taff running side by side. This, of course, is the last lap of this one, folks, as the clock has just struck 10. Jason Smith rounds through Blanchimont, and I tell you what, it's going to be a fantastic victory for him. 1.4 seconds ahead of Ronan Doherty. It'll be his second win of the season for Jason Smith, and a job well done indeed. Got the launch at the start, never really looked back. Jason Smith, your winner in heat number 1 here in Spa-Francorchamps. Ronan Doherty there in second, and Rory O'Shea will just hold on to third ahead of Robbie Callaghan. Callaghan not able to get past Rory. Brandon McCaughan comes home in 5th. Had a Lee Richardson in 6th. We're still racing for the minor places. Here is Enda Farrell and TJ Taft. Taft slings it around the outside of Enda Farrell. There's 2 cars stopped in front. One is Dylan McClements, and championship leader gets T-boned. He's got to lose more time. There's more damage there. That is Dylan McClements. Oh, he's gone over now. He's gone over. No facing the right way. Somehow that worked out for the better. But that is disastrous for Dylan, because he was going to get a few points to his name. He now gets none. I think there could have been an incident potentially with Logan Hoy there, and for Dylan's sake, I hope it wasn't, because Hoy, not a popular name in the McClements household as of recent, and I think I might fear the worst here, because Dylan looks all okay. Does Logan tap him into the bus stop chicane? I think Dylan might have been going around a little bit, but Logan has made that a lot worse, and then bang, Dylan gets clipped. He sat in the middle of the road. There's nowhere really for him to go. And then icing on the cake from Gary Corcoran. But admittedly, that was quite cool. So, yeah, worked okay. He wasn't getting a point anyway, so at least he styled it out. But yeah, That's going to be one for the stewards to investigate. As Jamal is heading through the curve, Paul Frere. A nice little bit of screen time for Jamal's sponsors, anyways. So I'm sure he won't be too sad about that. And we've cut to an onboard, so you don't get to see any of the sponsors. That's quite petty from Ronan Hederman, in all honesty, as doesn't want to give any fellow sim builder some screen time. Competitiveness and all that. Jamal rounds us off behind Ken Doyle, and it's disappointing for Ken because he was running quite strong, but clearly involved in an incident somewhere along the line. Your race winner, ahead of Ronan Doherty in second place and Rory O'Shea in third. Then it's Robbie Callahan, Brandon McCaughton ahead of Leo Richardson, Peter McCann, Sean McClements. Then it is CJ O'Sullivan in ninth ahead of Brian McCarthy in 10th. Finley Melvin comes home in 11th ahead of Kevin Joyce in 12th. Then it is Tony Stack in 13th, TJ Taff in 14th, ahead of Enda Farrell in 15th. Then it is Logan Hoy in 16th, David Prunty in 17th, and Jeremy Toomey in 18th position. Then a little bit further down, of course, Gary Cork on 19th and Philip Upson 20th. Dylan McClements eventually gets classified in 21st at Ken Doyle, Jamal Gandor, Sebastian Schloten, Kyle Irvine there in 25th. Ronan Hederman, I suppose it goes to show that even if we do think someone is comfortable in the championship heading into a round, it can all just go away very quickly.
So disappointing to see. Like, Dylan was completely, I think he was completely not to blame in that circumstance, and it just happens. And you know, as clean as we see this race, and that kind of stuff will happen, but will it affect him too much? He's like, what, 40 points ahead at this stage? I don't think it's going to affect him that much. I think Dylan's kind of one of these guys that'll get his head down and just keep going. So I don't think it'll affect him too much. For race now, like that at the end, okay, fair enough. That's was he completely going around? I'm not entirely sure. Like,
I think like if he wasn't hit, he would have still been fine. But it wasn't the natural apex.
Yeah, true. Kyle did cut that corner, or sorry, who was it? Was it Kyle?
No, it was Logan.
Sorry, it was Logan. Logan
Kyle isn't even racing.
Logan didn't exactly take the racing line either. He cut that corner quite a lot. But yeah, Dylan's one of these guys who's going to put his head down anyway and try and get back up the points, and maybe, I don't know, with some stroke of luck he'll get into the top 8 with such a strong grid and how fast this track is. I can't really see that happening either though, so it could just be maybe drop round might be on the thoughts for Dylan.
Yeah, true. When you see racers that are Dylan McClements' age, you expect them to be hothead rich kids who are going to throw their toys out of the pram at any given moment. Yeah, Dylan McClements couldn't be further from the opposite, further away from that. He's the total opposite.
He's had his moments. He's definitely had his moments, and I think a lot of the guys on the grid will agree with that.
He's not quite Luca. No, not Luca Bador. Who was the guy who threw the front of the cart at someone? And he was a lot older than Dylan McClements as well. But Dylan, yeah, to be fair to him, he'll get the head down. Jason Smith is going to get the power down as we go racing here in Spa-Francorchamps. Excellent race start once again. Ronan Doherty, for the second time in succession, has been caught asleep. It's sleepy time in the Doherty household, and Ronan now has to get his elbows out and try and defend his race position. He's in third, but is under pressure by fellow Antrim racer Brandon McCaughton right behind. Rory O'Shea has taken second. You can see Robbie Callahan and Leo Richardson side by side. Oh! Door banging into Eau Rouge. Somehow they both survive. That was very close between the two. Richardson comes out on top. Robbie Callahan there. I'm not sure Leo Richardson even knew Robbie was so far alongside. It seemed like he was just taking the natural run through the corner. We're almost line astern, apart from Brian McCarthy. And, apart from Kevin Joyce, I should say, who was going for the move on Brian McCarthy. Jason Smith still your race leader. Rory O'Shea in second. Ronan Doherty there in third. Brandon McCaughton in fourth. Leo Richardson fifth. And it's McCann, Callahan, Sean McClellan, CJ O'Sullivan, and Finley Melvin. Melvin once again, cracking race start. Smith, though, comfortably ahead of Rory O'Shea once again. O'Shea's going to be put under a lot of pressure, though, from Ronan Doherty behind. We saw the pace was really Jason quickest. Ronan definitely second quickest, then everyone else in heat number 1, so I imagine that will follow a similar theme. Remember, even if you have the best pace, it can still all go a begging, like it did for Ronan Doherty last week in Imola. The cut through is already starting for young Dylan McClements. Second in the championship last season. He's got a lot of experience in scenarios such as this one, and he's trying to now get past Enda Farrell, but just doesn't want to get caught up in any further incidents because that would really, really hamper his progress. The goal, I think, for Dylan is going to be 8th spot, and it's going to be to get on that reverse grid and give yourself a fighting chance at taking a heat-free victory side by side through Blanchimont. Bravery of the highest order for the pair of them, and Dylan turns the outside to in, and he's going to go for the inside line through the bus stop. This is all where it all went to begging last time round for Dylan McClements, but it is perfect, however, on the opening lap of heat number 2. Finley Melvin is under pressure from Kevin Joyce behind, and Joyce tried it down the inside. There's a little bit of a nudge between McCarthy and Kevin Joyce, and that shoved Brian McCarthy off the apex of the corner, and will now invite TJ Taff to go for the outside line, and you can see Taff trying to fling it here. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. Here we go. TJ Taff, Brian McCarthy. Wow. Very impressed with the pair of them. McCarthy getting the move done round the outside. Logan Hoy invites himself into the fight. He's never one to see an overtaken opportunity go a begging. Ronan Doherty makes the move stick on Rory O'Shea. The Monster Energy livery gets into second. The Red Bull livery is up to 13th spot, or is a 3 currently, and is now sending round Brian McCarthy. So Red Bull gives you wings and also puts a lot of gravel in Brian McCarthy's engine cooling cooling vents. That's the one. Philip Upson is into 20th position. A little bit more of a hectic race start than we saw in heat number 1. Sean McClement's overtaken by Robbie Callahan, and is one of them having internet issues. It is Robbie Callahan that is. You could just see him blinking behind Peter McCann. We don't want to see a disconnect. That's the worst thing for everyone. If you want to retire from a race, you'd probably rather do it by crashing and then an internet issue. And you can see, yeah, there's a couple of problems for Robbie Callahan. Let's have a look at the Gantry TV replay then. This is the Ronan Doherty overtake on Rory O'Shea heading into Lake Home. Looked fairly simple. Let's see, was it? Just into the slipstream. Then Doherty slips up the inside. And yeah, a job well done. That's one of the easier ones here in Spa. Monster Energy, a big feature in the Gantry TV broadcast booth tonight. I'll say no more. But it's not just with delivery of Ronan Doherty. Let's have a look then. TJ Taft down the inside of Brian McCarthy. What went wrong here? Oh. Oh. Okay. I think where we've frozen was the most important bit of that. Because how TJ Taft went from right behind Brian McCarthy to being up his inside and towards the next corner, I'm not too sure. But again, we'll find out in the steward's room. Logan Hoy is side by side with Dylan McClements here. This is a worst nightmare for a championship leader. It's being side by side in towards Eau Rouge. Once again, there's contact. Logan Hoy. Oh, is he going to save that? No, he's not. No, he's not. Hold your brakes. Oh, he does. Thankfully. Oh. Okay, well done, Logan. Well done, Logan. He's done well to avoid an airplane crash. Heading at the top of Eau Rouge. Got on the brakes at the right point. Reversed back as soon as he could. Well done, Logan. And he has been tapped by Dylan McClements there. Again, that's not what Dylan McClements needs, because if that is deemed a penalty to him, which I'm not sure it will be, I'd have to take another look at it, but if that's deemed a penalty to him, then he cannot use this week as his drop round, which would be big in terms of a championship aspect, because so far tonight, it's not been a high-scoring one for Dylan McClements. I imagine this Gantry TV replay is going to be this incident. Yes, it is. So that's Dylan McClements in the purple, or the pink, depending on your take. That is Logan Hoy in the red and yellow. So you can see there. Ooh. Yeah, I'm not sure Logan's given him much space. I think Dylan has tapped the rear. I don't think it's net code. There is definitely contact there. Yeah, that's an intriguing one. I'll be intrigued to see the verdict on that incident. Dylan won't be thinking about it now anyways. He'll just be thinking about getting past TJ Taff in front. in towards the bus stop chicane. We are about 8 minutes into, or sorry, about 6 minutes, I should say, into this one of the 15. It is Jason Smith who is your comfortable race leader over Ronan Doherty. I don't think Jason Smith he's done an RTA Grand Slam, certainly in the fine year of 2024. And we're on lap 4 of 99, seemingly. I don't think Jason Smith has done a Grand Slam. Probably a bit too early still to shout about that one, but he's going about it the right way. He is 1.4 ahead of Ronan. But this is the beauty of Spa. It looks like Ronan is only a couple of car lengths behind, but he is a second and a half. Rory O'Shea, 8 tenths behind Ronan Doherty, doing a good job. Brandon McCaughton in 4th. Leo Richardson there in 5th with Peter McCann in 6th spot. Here is Dylan McClements. We're going to move down the inside of TJ Taft. Job done for Dylan. He didn't make that one too difficult. And TJ didn't end up on his outside for the gravel. So a job well done there for Dylan McClements. This is Brandon McCaughton, who you are looking at, who's in 4th. And again, hasn't been able to keep up with the top 3, but he is there in 3rd. Leo Richardson behind him. And what has happened to Robbie Callahan? He's down to 23rd. Is it... Oh, he's having... Oh, yeah, internet issues. He's having internet issues, I'm hearing behind the scenes. So we noticed that briefly. But he's had an even bigger issue, and he's down to 23rd. Disappointing for Robbie. His bad season just gets worse. And although there's still plenty of rounds for him to recover, there's certainly no title ambitions left really for Robbie Callahan, because he's not got a high accumulation of points scored. And in terms of the championship as a whole, he is down in 21st position coming into tonight. Internet issues, the last thing he needs. And Robbie Callahan will need to recover. Here is Philip Upson and Dermot Toomey, who are fighting, and that is Upson on the inside, Toomey on the outside. And as they head into the braking of the corner, Philip Upson is well ahead, but Toomey will be looking for the exit. Can he get the run down towards turn number 1? No, doesn't seem so. So there's no real run there for Dermot Toomey. And he will have to just stay behind Upson. McCaughton, he's going to be under a bit of pressure from Leo Richardson. I'll tell you what, Leo has done a great job since coming on to the grid. You can see no real defensive manoeuvre from Brandon McCaughton, but Leo Richardson is gaining, and no move down the inside. If he was a 10th closer, absolutely, but no move down the inside there. That would have just been silly from Leo Richardson. Admittedly, we've seen more stupider moves here on Gantry TV from time to time, but that was a smart choice from Leo. You can just see them heading round through the X curve. That's a very nice camera shot, I have to say. Enjoy that one. As you can see just the gap decreasing slightly between Brandon and between Leo. Brandon McCaughton, of course, racing in GB4 this year, raced in the Ligier European Series in Portimao as well. Won races in GB4, I should say, didn't just race in the championship. Won races in the National Formula Ford as well. So you might think he's a little bit of a single-seater expert, but certainly good in the prototype, especially in the Stellara P217, which has a 4.2-litre Gibson engine, of course, 600 brake horsepower. So it's quite nippy down the straights. Can Kevin Joyce utilise some of that nippiness in overtaking Finlay Melvin in towards Blanchimont? Less than 5 minutes to go. That's about 3 laps here around Spa-Francorchamps, so not an awful lot of time left to make the move stick. Kevin Joyce will be looking for this one into the bus stop, though, because he's got a monster run right behind Finlay Melvin. And here comes Melvin, trying to defend to the inside line. Kevin Joyce is going to try and squeeze his way through. Melvin's dumped off to the paint, but that is very well held by Kevin Joyce. Great commitment. Now flashing the headlamps at Finlay Melvin. Melvin kept the position off circuit. Kevin Joyce doesn't care. Dives down the inside in towards Le Source. Job done for Joyce. Melvin going to try get the run. He will have the slipstream. Heading up Eau Rouge. Is this one going to continue on? Eau Rouge and Ratillon? It might well do so. They're still side by side. Finlay Melvin's going to go the long way about it. Can he get it stick? Oh, he can. He's kept it in there. This is excellent commitment and brilliant racing from Kevin Joyce and Finlay Melvin. The battle will continue to the next apex. Who will pull their sword out of the fight quickest? And it's going to be Kevin Joyce, who's just about ahead. But Melvin tries to sling it round, bumps over the apex in the corner. They're both still in this one. This is fantastic. Oh, Finley Melvin. Bravo. Bravo. Take a bow. That is brilliant. He lost the spot 3 or 4 times there. But Finley Melvin perseveres, stays in front. Kevin Joyce stays behind. Wow, that's best battle of the day so far. Best battle of the day. And now Kevin Joyce is going to try it again. No move on there. That really was, yeah, that was exceptional. And I can't imagine it's going to end just there, because they still have another lap or two to go at it. That's the sort of raw racing you need, I think. Finley did run off the circuit a couple of times, but Kevin forced them there a couple of times. And they were both well within their rights to race the way they did. And that's what we love to see. We don't like to see this track limits shenanigans, although Finley would have picked up a couple of X's for it. I'd like to see this, ahead of the apex nonsense. Just pure racing between two pure racers. They're going to go for it once again, because Kevin Joyce now, I tell you what, he's even more motivated to go for the move after that one. On Finley Melvin, and he breaks a lot later than Melvin, but he's not alongside. Look who's just crept into this one as well, Dylan McClemens, and that's a man who knows how to race, and he'll be looking to try and get involved in some of this action as well. A little bit further back, and that's Philip Upson, who you were looking at, and Endefaro just sneaking up the inside. Dermot Toomey just in front, and then that is Brian McCarthy behind. So this is a four-way fight for some of the minor placings, but points still handed out for some of these. That's a defensive line. That's a very defensive line by Dermot Toomey, and somehow it's not gone very well at all. It was overly defensive, and he's paid the price for that one. It almost looked like he had steering failure of some sort. Finley Melvin still side by side with Kevin Joyce now. Dylan McClemens looking to get involved in this one. Roll reversal. It's Joyce on the outside of the corner. Finley once again leaves the space. Oh no! They go round, and Dylan McClemens sees another spin in front of him. The first time was nice, but they couldn't really do it twice. And Finley Melvin and Kevin Joyce both get sent round. Joyce still in the top 10. Somehow still ahead of Dylan McClemens. And Dylan has lost another handful of spaces. And it's no fault of his own again. Dylan is just not a man getting his stroke of luck tonight. And he will be wondering, what have I done to the world? Jason Smith running through the curve, Paul Frere again. And it's another case of, we saw Smith on the opening lap. We didn't see him until the final lap, because he's been dominant out front. We will hear from him after the race, of course, but we need to keep an eye on these battles first. Tony Stack is looking to try and get past TJ Taft. This is for 10th spot, so it's been a good recovery by the pair of them. Can Dylan McClemens pull off something masterful here to make the move stick into the bus stop chicane? He's quicker than the two in front, but he doesn't have a lot of time to work with. Jason Smith crosses the line, or actually we might get one more. We're going to get one more lap in. So we are actually going to get another lap. So Dylan McClemens does have time to use his pace. He doesn't want to wait though, and he's going to go for the move on Tony Stack. Yep, Tony gives him a nice wide berth, and Dylan McClemens gets through. Tony probably knows that he's better off following Dylan, as Dylan almost looks like he's in a different car category now. It looks like he's the hypercar here at the 6 Hours of Spa, looking to get past the minnows, the LMP2s. But he is a minnow. He isn't an LMP2, but he dispatches TJ Taft fairly easily. This is the last lap now, so Jason Smith has to do one more trip round, as does everyone else, and it's probably the last thing Jason Smith wants, but he didn't have enough time or didn't have enough of a gap to wait for the race leader. TJ Taft is all over the rear of Dylan McClemens now, who had made a slight mistake heading through the top of Radion, and he's got to slow down. He's got to slow down. And have you really seen bad luck just like this? Usually a slowdown would mean, your gap has decreased to the car behind. Nope, in this case it means Dylan loses 4 positions. Ronan Doherty has lost a position as well on the last lap. Lost the race win in Imola on the last lap. He's lost second place here in Spa-Francorchamps on the last lap. Not a good lap to be from Dunloy, because that's Dylan McClemens who lost 4 positions, and it's now Ronan Doherty who has lost 1. Dylan not able to get past any of the cars he did lose that time to, although he will be trying to weave in and out of them once again. Rory O'Shea could be under a lot of pressure then heading into the bus stop. Jason Smith will come home for the race win unless he has a disaster through the final couple of corners. But the real battles are the ones behind him. Rory O'Shea, Ronan Doherty. Doherty into the slipstream now. Brandon McCaughan looking to get past Leo Richardson as well. Richardson is in front. There is Doherty and O'Shea. There'll be no move there. McCaughon's going to go for it on Leo. Oh, tried the little Mansell dummy up the inside, but wasn't able to make it stick. Going to try going the long way here on Leo Richardson. That's class from Brandon McCaughan. Leo Richardson gets the exit on the corner. Leo Richardson will get the place. Excellent racing from Leo. Great stuff from Brandon McCaughan as well. Reverse pole will actually go to CJ O'Sullivan. Dylan McClements was able to get past David Prunty, but not able to get close to his cousin Finley Melvin or Tony Stank or TJ Taff. Taff will get 10th place. Very interesting heat number 2. A lot of drama associated with it. We will hear from our podium, hopefully, in a few moments' time. CJ O'Sullivan will start at the front of the order for the first time in his RTA career, however, as Logan Hoy will round us out. We won't be waiting on Jamal this time. He finished in the pit lane. What a weird race, however, as we will get confirmation of your results. Jason Smith is the race winner ahead of Rory O'Shea in second. Then it is Ronan Doherty in third, Leo Richardson in fourth, and it is Brandon McCaughan, Peter McCann, Sean McClements, CJ O'Sullivan, Kevin Joyce, TJ Taft, Tony Stack, Finley Melvin, Dylan McClements. Then it is David Prunty, Brian McCarthy, Enda Farrell, Dermot Toomey, and Ken Doyle in 18th spot. A little bit further down, we have Philip Upson, Gary Corcoran, ahead of Logan Hoy, Robbie Callahan. Then it is Jamal Gandor, Sebastian Sloten, and Kyle Irvine. Let's hear from Jason Smith, your race winner in Heat 1 and in Heat number 2. Jason, congratulations. A dominant performance in Heat 1 and Heat 2. Doesn't seem to be anyone on your level.
No. It's just I was just consistent really, and I've a little bit more pace than the rest of the guys. I'm just about putting in the lap times and just not making any mistakes really.
When you're in a situation like this, just what goes through the mindset of a driver? Because we know, or you know, that you have the pace to win, but you just have to focus on not making a mistake.
Yeah, no, it's just really about picking your points the whole time, not getting flustered if a guy behind you's catching you, or you're getting caught or pulling away. Just focusing on yourself really, and just not looking behind, and just making sure you hit the marks all the time.
And then heat number 3 then obviously has to be a bit of a different ball game. You're starting from 8th. What's the plan?
Yeah, it's just going to be about survival. I know it can pick off everybody coming through the pack. It's just about not getting damaged really, and hoping that Ronan and Rory don't get away.
Jason, congratulations on Heat 1 and Heat 2, and we wish you the best of luck going for the Grand Slam.
Thanks very much, guys. Have a good one.
Let's hear from Rory O'Shea then in second. Rory, congratulations. It's another podium for you this season. You took second on the last lap, though. Some reminiscence to Imola, potentially?
Yeah, it was deja vu, really. I think Ronan had some more issues that were out of his control, but, I'll take it. I think Ronan was quicker than me on the day, so I think I'm happy enough that I managed to finish ahead of him in the end.
You, of course, will be starting ahead of Jason. Does that give you an opportunity to potentially stop him here? Because no one was able to get close in the first 2 heats.
I think it'll be difficult. No, Jason, with his speed and his kind of on track and passing ability, he'll probably cut through towards the front very, very quickly. So I think I'll just try and keep with him as best as I can, because I anticipate he'll get past me fairly quickly.
Is it going to be a case of you following him through the pack then?
I think so. I think he's fairly untouchable today, so if I can come in second behind him, I'll be happy enough.
Rory, thank you very much. Best of luck for the third heat.
Thanks, Adam.
And now let's hear from Ronan Doherty, who finished in third. Ronan, what happened on the last lap this time then? Well, a lack of audio, clearly. Hello, Ronan, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
I'm
What
a mic
happened on the
mute.
last lap?
I don't actually know. My screen just went completely black, and then I thought it was going to completely disconnect me or something, and then it just put me back on the same spot I was on the track before, like 5 seconds later. So yeah, not getting very lucky at the minute, but I'm happy enough with second and third. Happy I got to deal with it.
It's not been a good evening look wise for all of the Doherty slash McClemens families. Um, Keeping up with Jason then. Is there a way to do it tonight?
Yeah, just be consistent. I mean, he's maybe got a 10th on me, and that's all right. I mean, I was unfortunately at the hospital there. I had a sort of race home to get on tonight, and didn't get to do any laps before qualifying. So to be honest, I'm happy enough just picking up my points and in second this week.
And then in heat number 3, then obviously you had the incident at the start last week. Is it just going to be survival of the fittest?
Yeah, maybe not try and send it back style in the first corner.
Ronan, best of luck for heat number 3.
I'll do. Cheers, lads.
Interesting to hear from the top 3 there. To the other Ronan, did he say he was in the hospital?
He did indeed. No idea what's going on there.
Well, I hope all is okay for Ronan Doherty or for whoever he may have been visiting. But there's something in the water up there. These guys love racing with injuries.
Yeah, they do absolutely. Whether and especially in the, as you said, the McClemens and Doherty household. I think it's going to
Because
be
Sean's not feeling too well either tonight. Just
when
to give you a little
when
bit
is
of insight.
Sean well is the right thing to say there.
Yeah, true. Also, apologies, folks, if you clearly hear the cold I'm suffering from as well. If there's the random mute from time to time, it's because the last thing you want to hear is me sniffing. But CJ O'Sullivan is on pole position ahead of Sean McClemens in second place. So, Ronan, any predictions for how this one's going to go horribly wrong for Sean?
Well, at least he doesn't have to actually do a stand-and start because otherwise he would definitely have jumped it.
Oh, yeah, that would be
But
true. Yeah.
I can see him, if he has learned anything from the likes of Jason Smith, he will try and get the jump or at least come through that last corner in the right style that he will, try and get the jump on the leader. I don't know CJ too well to anticipate him knowing how to get quite a jump, but if we had started this race again and I had Jason Smith leave, a second gap before the first corner, I would have been like, oh, here we go again. But yeah, I think it's going to be down to Spa's really weird with the rolling starts. You've got that last corner, and you've got the obvious advantage there of just being able to decide when to go and just jump it, like when everyone is basically still in the corner. If everyone else can kind of cop that, I think it'll be a different story this time. At least I hope.
Is there an argument to be made for going before the final corner?
I don't think so, because I think you
I
kind of
asked
want
this
to.
to you as you have won around here, by the way, in RTA, just giving you a chance to brag.
Oh wow! I'm delighted you remembered. um, I don't know because I didn't start at the front.
They did bottle the championship as well, folks, just in case you were interested. But it is CJ O'Sullivan who does start from pole, Sean McClemens in second, Peter McCann in third, Brandon McCaughan in fourth, Leo Richardson there in fifth, Ronan Doherty in sixth, Rory O'Shea seventh, Jason Smith in eighth. Then it's Kevin Joyce, TJ Taft, Tony Stack, Finley, Melvin. Then a little bit further it is Dylan McClements, David Prunty, Brian McCarthy, and Farrell, Dermot Toomey, Ken Dull, Philip Upson, Gary Corcoran, Logan Hoy, Robbie Callahan, Jamal Gandor, and Sebastian Sloten rounds out the field. Top 24 here. Remember, folks, if you have a preference for driver of the day come the end of heat number 3, make sure to get it into us, and we will consider your suggestion. Right, CJ O'Sullivan, first time leading us away at a rolling start or a standing start here in RTA Virtual Motorsport. Let's see what he can do then. The driver from County Kilkenny is going to look to try and get the jump on the man from Antrim, Sean McClements, a household name here in RTA this year, certainly. He's going to sling it through the final corner. Oh, doesn't go immediately like we saw from Jason Smith, and he has not caught out Sean McClements there. Has got a little bit of a jump, naturally what you expect, as Ronan Hederman said, but Sean McClements has kept with him. Leo Richardson immediately down the inside of Peter McCann. Sean's got it all wrong at the apex of the corner, and he's lost out to McCann. He's lost out to Richardson, and crucially, he's lost out to the high-flying Ronan Doherty, already up to 4th. Brandon McCaughton 5th. Jason Smith there in 6th. Sean has fallen all the way down to 8th. We said how it would go wrong for him. That was probably a little bit quicker than we expected. Doherty and McCaughton, almost side by side, heading up a Rouge, will be side by side at the apex of Lake Home. Peter McCann looking to try and make an impact on CJ O'Sullivan. He's still looking to try and win this season here in the LMP2 Cup. He's just trying to get a podium in this LMP2 Cup, I should say. Sean McClements fights back, gets back past Rory O'Shea. O'Shea still fights back, heading through Malmedy, bobbles over the curb. That allows McClements to run the long way around the outside. Kevin Joyce now trying to sling it round Rory O'Shea. He's been a man who's had some brilliant racing so far this evening, and he will be able to get past Rory O'Shea. Action-packed start though. CJ O'Sullivan has held on to the middle sector at least, and he is starting to pull a little bit of a gap over Peter McCann. Leo Richardson there in 3rd. Jason Smith right behind Brandon McCaughton. This is in the battle for 5th. Smith feels he has the pace to cut through these cars. It's just about timing, and it's just about survival, he said to us in the Gantry TV interview. Let's see, can he live up to those motives? Admittedly, timing and patience, not usually grasp on the top of the list for Smith, but he certainly feels those are necessary tonight. When Jason goes on about timing and patience, you know it really is a hectic race. There's Jason Smith now right behind Brandon McCaughton, heading through Blanchimont, and he's tucked up right behind. And I'll tell you what, the timing of this one could be perfect, because he's right behind, heading into the bus stop. Brandon defensive line. Jason just has a lot more confidence here on the brakes. And is he going to be able to sneak through? Oh, yes, he is. He's made a mockery of Brandon McCaughton on the apex there. Brandon is a fine racing driver, but Jason Smith has made him look like an absolute fool. Those two, of course, were going for the Motorsport Ireland Young Driver of the Year award, and Jason made the final 3. Brandon, unfortunately, didn't. And if you were to go by that one side-by-side battle, you would say they've made the correct choice. DJ Taff now here with Finlay Melvin. Both of these have been side-by-side for Eau Rouge already tonight. They're going to try it with each other. Dylan McClements, another driver that's been side-by-side for Eau Rouge. Here comes Peter McCann for the race lead, trying to get past CJ O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's got a lap lead under his belt. If he's a statistical man, that one will bold nicely for the history books. But McCann swoops around the outside, and Peter's not being done by any up and under this week. Excellent stuff from McCann. Gets the job done. And he is ahead, a little bit of a dip into the gravel from, I think that would have been either Leo Richardson or Ronan Doherty. Here comes Dylan McClements, who's trying to get past, this is Finlay Melvin, and he has got past Melvin. Taff now diving down the inside in towards the X-curve. One of them's being chucked onto the gravel. Yep, Finlay Melvin was, but he's done quite well there. CJ O'Sullivan now under pressure from Leo Richardson and Ronan Doherty. It's one RTA champion versus 2 rookies, and Leo Richardson doing an excellent job tonight indeed, but Ronan Doherty just has that little bit of extra class, and he's able to dive down the inside. Oh, Jason Smith all out of shape. Smith, though, all out of shape. Richardson round. Leo Richardson round. And Jason Smith was the one out of shape, but Richardson's the one who loses the places, falling down the order. Ronan Doherty, Jason Smith, Brandon McCaughton. I'm sure this one's going to end well. Down towards Blanchimont. Ronan Doherty trying to defend from the pair of them. Smith trying the outside through Blanchimont. They go line astern for now, for a brief moment, before they'll start scrapping towards the bus stop chicane once again. Jason Smith trying the outside of Ronan Doherty. Doherty able to just about stay in, but Jason Smith trying to nudge his way through, trying to barge his way past Ronan Doherty. But Doherty's been in situations like this before, and he will stay in front. Brandon McCaughton's going to try an opportunistic outside line. Jason Smith's going to barrel it back down the inside in towards La Source, and Jason Smith is ahead at the apex of the corner, leaves Doherty space. Doherty just bobbles over the rumble strip on the outside of that corner, and he has lost the straight line speed. He's going to be side by side with Brandon McCaughton, and Ronan Doherty just falls in, just finds a place nicely in between the two. It's like slipping a bit of lettuce onto your sandwich. There's just enough room, and Ronan Doherty will get the slipstream down towards Lake Home. Here he goes once again. Is it going to be the outside or the inside line that Doherty will pivot? He can't really afford to let Jason Smith get a middle sector in front of these two. He will, unfortunately, because he wasn't close enough, even with the slipstream, to go for an adequate overtaking opportunity. Now he just needs to hope that Jason Smith will get held up by CJ O'Sullivan, who is 1.3 behind your race leader, Peter McCann. What an excellent job so far by Peter. Hopefully, no mistakes are in store for Peter, and he can get a real shot at taking a race win here in RTA. It was very good last week, was Peter McCann. Got 4th place in Imola. He'd like to go 1 better, potentially 3 better, and take the race victory. You can already see a bit of a gap starting to separate Ronan Doherty and Jason Smith. And Doherty doesn't really want Brandon McCotton right behind him, and you can see Doherty making a similar groove in the gravel that Jason Smith did a couple of laps ago, or even 1 lap ago, I should say. And he's just looking to keep hunting down the Selbridge man in front. This is a battle for 14th place between Enda Farrell and Logan Hoy, and that's Farrell in front. Ahead of Logan Hoy, here's Finley Melvin and TJ Taff, and these two still going at it. This is now Monster Energy versus Red Bull. This is a marketing battle as well as a physical one on the racing circuit. Neither driver, of course, affiliated with either of them brands, unless I missed a memo. But they're side by side. Behind them, this is Logan Hoy, who broke too late to make the corner. I was going to say they stayed clean for the apex, but there was a little bit of a nudge there. Both continue to carry on, so no harm, no foul. Brian McCarthy and Logan Hoy, 2 drivers who were at the mercy of the stewards last week in Imola. Logan Hoy also at the mercy of his lack of braking effort in towards La Source, and he runs wide and almost into the gravel. TJ Taft now under pressure from Leo Richardson behind. Leo, despite having that spin into Stavolo, is still in competitive position here. He is in 11th, and now he's all over the tail of TJ Taff, and Richardson pivots to the outside on Taff, and Taff just ahead. Is Richardson going to be able to go the long way around outside? Surely this is an incident. No it isn't, weirdly enough. TJ now under Callahan, and Callahan to go around the outside as well, and TJ Taff will be happy that he's not been spun round, because we've seen a lot of incidents into both them corners, but he has lost both places. Wide for Finley Melvin. That's going to invite Leo Richardson to go straight past, and Leo Richardson really confident on this outside line, it seems, and he has got the job done once again. Peter McCann's gap is being closed down by none other than CJ O'Sullivan, and CJ's not been close to a podium place at any point this season. He's in the lofty heights of second now, but he's going to be under some pressure from Jason Smith behind. Ronan Doherty will be begging to O'Sullivan that he can hold up Jason for even just a couple of corners to allow Doherty to get back within contention. Brandon McCotton probably hoping for something similar. We're almost at the halfway point in this race. Still plenty of racing to go. We're only 8 minutes in here to the 20. 12 minutes left on the clock. Robbie Callahan right behind Finley Melvin, heading in towards Blanchimont, and Callahan looking to try and get ahead in the tricolour, and he's going to barrel down the inside of Finley Melvin. Melvin breaks very late though. That's going to hamper his run through the bus stop chicane, and surely this is curtains for Robbie Callahan, because he's got a brilliant exit. Then Finley Melvin, and yeah, he is ahead. Unfortunate there for Finley Melvin. Unless he can break late in towards La Source. Oh, he can. Robbie Callahan's going to go for this switchback. And Finley Melvin, I tell you what, he's held on well there. He's done a good job. Robbie will get the run down towards Eau Rouge. And then up Radion. But for now, Finley Melvin is ahead. Here comes Jason Smith, trying to get past CJ O'Sullivan towards Lake Home. He's not quite close enough, or is he? Jason Smith goes for the inside line. O'Sullivan breaks later. O'Sullivan defends. This is exactly what Ronan Doherty wants. As here we go, we're 3 wide, a little bit further back, and it looks like TJ Taff is trying to channel his inner Mika Hakkinen on Finley Melvin and Robbie Callahan. Oh, he's been clipped by Callahan. Into the gravel he goes. Robbie just about clips the Red Bull livery in front. Finley Melvin scampers up the road. CJ O'Sullivan is staying ahead of Jason Smith. And look, this is exactly what Ronan wanted. This is exactly what Ronan Doherty wanted. CJ O'Sullivan is holding up Jason Smith, but now he's holding up Ronan Doherty himself. And O'Sullivan doing a stellar job to get all elbows out. He'll become Peter McCann's new best friend. That is without question. Ronan, Hederman and Evan Walsh crying in the background, but CJ O'Sullivan is doing a wonderful job here to try and to keep Jason Smith and Ronan Doherty behind. CJ, obviously in no shape or form, is thinking about Peter McCann at this very moment. He's thinking about his own race position, but every cloud and all that. Brandon McCaughton, who we are on board with now, is trying to just keep with these two, not get involved in the incident, not drive straight into the scene of the accident, but also be a big beneficiary of race position. Jason's made the way too far behind to lunge CJ O'Sullivan as well. It's going to have to be another attempt in towards Lake Home. McCaughton breaks late, not able to get past Doherty, however. As you can see the exit of the corner. Doherty still just a little bit far behind Jason Smith to have a real overtaking opportunity. So Jason still probably has one more free shot at CJ O'Sullivan. Sean McClements as well now joining this train, as is Rory O'Shea, as is Sean's brother Dylan. So Dylan back within big point contention and looking to salvage something from Spa-Francorchamps. Eau Rouge, Radillon, on board with O'Sullivan, looking back at Jason Smith. Smith's got a real chance now. CJ will be doing very well if he can keep the multi-race winner tonight behind. Jason Smith goes for the move on the outside, and he will be ahead of CJ O'Sullivan at the apex, surely. Is O'Sullivan able to break later? No, has to lift off. Jason Smith is through. He'll now have a shot at Peter McCann for the race lead, unless Ronan Doherty can dispatch CJ very quickly, but he is still a couple of car lengths behind. This is now TJ Taff and Robbie Callaghan, who you are seeing battling. And they've been battling for the whole of this race so far. We are over halfway through it. Not an awful lot of laps to go because of how long they are, folks, although you'll have noticed that throughout tonight. As Dylan McClements has got past his brother Sean. Sean, of course, last week said that Dylan was the reason that he won in Imola. I imagine he is returning the favour to his younger brother. As that is one thing. There's always been good teamwork between them two. Usually brothers out on the circuit try to kill each other, but no, there's been good teamwork between them two. As I won't repeat what Ronan Hederman just said in my ear for the future success of any driver racing here tonight, but yeah, you can probably figure out what two brothers he's just tried to reference. And it's not the Schumachers. Ronan Doherty now actually under pressure. Where in the world has Rory O'Shea come from? What? Rory has just channeled his inner Casper the Friendly Ghost and has appeared right up behind Ronan Doherty. I swear he was well behind. I swear he was behind both the McClemenses even. But Rory in fifth. Looking to try and get past Ronan in fourth. This is the Callaghan, Taff, Melvin, etc. battle that we are looking at. And the cars who have fought with Finlay Melvin tonight is a list as long as your arm. He's really been involved in it. Dare I say the most Gantry TV screen time he's ever got. But Finlay has been quite impressive tonight in some of his battles. Is he your nomination for driver of the day? Well, let us know in the stream chat below, folks. Any nominations are welcome. It certainly makes our life easier in about 20 minutes' time. Here comes Robbie Callaghan. Nonetheless, looking for the move on the outside. Eventually will swap to the inside line as Melvin plants his position on the main straight. No more moves allowed for Finlay Melvin now. Breaks later than Robbie Callaghan and still makes the corner. You can run very deep into the second part of the Lake Home chicane because it doesn't really hamper your line through the third part, or Malmedy. And you can see there how that benefits Finlay Melvin. 1.1 race lead now between Peter McCann and Jason Smith. Still CJ O'Sullivan in third. Rory O'Shea in fifth is tackling Ronan Doherty in fourth. This is a bit better. This is more interesting going into the late race. This is what we love to see is Callaghan. Oh, that's an issue for Robbie. That is a definite issue for Robbie Callaghan. And he's out. And he's gone. Oh, no. Robbie Callaghan. It almost looked like hardware failure for Robbie. And very, very disappointing. Maybe a wheel disconnect or something. Of course, if he needs anything fixed, he can check out one of our sponsors, Sim Consultants. But Robbie Callaghan with a problem there. That's utterly disappointing. And he's really not had a stroke of luck, as Robbie. tonight or in the season. Here comes Rory O'Shea diving down the inside of Ronan Doherty. That's not something you see often. And Ronan has been caught out there. Ronan not even defending that one, it seems. Almost unexpecting to what he was seeing. He will have the run, however, down the Camel Straight. But Rory O'Shea, very impressive in the last 3 laps. Even as unknown as he has been. Dylan McClemens behind Brandon McCaughan, who we are looking at. Brandon McCaughan is going to try and get past Ronan Doherty as well. I tell you what, Ronan, a bit of a pace deficit here. He said to us that he didn't have much practice laps coming into tonight. And that certainly seems to be the case here. Late race in heat number 3 on board with Peter McCann. Jason Smith just getting closer. McCann will have been praying that 4 minutes were magically deducted off the clock, because he's ran stellar up until now, is still driving very good, but Jason Smith has a clear pace advantage on the entire field here, it seems. Brandon McCaughan right behind Ronan Doherty, heading in towards the Bruxelles hairpin, and then in towards the X curve. Oh, here we go again. TJ Taff and Finley Melvin side by side. Melvin once again round the outside. They've lost their third partner, Robbie Callahan, in this one, as this is Logan Hoy and Enda Farrell. I tell you what, it's almost like a couple up here tonight. We have the same 2 cars fighting with each other all around the field. And the next thing you'll tell me is that Ronan Doherty and Brandon McCaughan, or Ronan Doherty and Rory O'Shea, are going to go fighting again. Jason Smith, however, is going to go fighting with Peter McCann. These are 2 cars who have not been near each other for the entire evening up until now, and it is at a crucial point where they are close to each other. It's not Ronan Doherty fighting with Rory O'Shea, it's Brandon McCaughan fighting with Ronan Doherty, and Ronan Doherty is looking to lose out here, heading through Blanchimont. Brandon McCaughan goes to the outside. Still McClemon's going to get involved as well. No, Tuck's up right behind Ronan Doherty. Doherty's pulled to the left-hand side. There's a problem for Ronan Doherty. Or no, he's let the 2 McClemonses through. So Ronan has let his 2 cousins through there. Definitely, because he clearly lifted off in the straight. Obviously feels that him being in front would hamper his 2 teammates' progress. All 3 of them members of the Team DDR team, of course. Or certainly they run under that banner here in RTA. But really disappointing for Ronan Doherty, who did finish second and third in Heat 1 and Heat 2. Here we go, though. Peter McCann looking to try and defend from Jason Smith. This is the penultimate lap of this one here in Spa-Francorchamps. Smith wants the inside line. He's given the outside by Peter McCann. And McCann, I think, is going to stay ahead here, unless there's a stroke of genius from Jason Smith, who runs it around the outside, gives McCann the shove. McCann keeps it down the inside, heading through Malmedy, and they make contact, both off the circuit and into the gravel. Excellent job done by Jason Smith, but he's going to lose the position to Rory O'Shea. And O'Shea tries it down the inside on Jason Smith. Smith still holding it through there. Excellent job by Jason, holding it round the outside of Rory O'Shea, or round the outside through there. Might still give him a fighting chance at winning this race. He'll have one more real go on Peter McCann. There might be some steward's intervention. We hope not, because a race being won on track is definitely better than a points deduction post-race. But Jason will be doing everything possible. We know he's a fiery character at the best of times, as here's these 2 again, Melvin and Taff, battling for a 10th spot. Admittedly, in all the battling they've done, it's still Finley Melvin that is ahead of TJ Taff. But more importantly, we need to keep an eye on the front of the field. It's about 0.7 of a second separating Peter McCann and Jason Smith, and without a doubt McCann will be hoping for something similar. We're going to go into the last lap of the race here in Spa-Francorchamps. Remember, Peter McCann track position, Jason Smith pace advantage, so this could go anywhere. Oh, look at this, it's 3 wide off the exit of the bus stop. That is Brandon McCaughan, CJ O'Sullivan and Dylan McClemens. And CJ O'Sullivan, who's driven a really strong race here tonight. He's looking not to get wrapped up in an incident, but still finish in front of some of the big names here in RTA and really cement himself as not a championship contender, but maybe a top 10 in the championship contender. As side by side goes Dylan McClemens and CJ O'Sullivan. Dylan McClemens, no, just as we said, CJ O'Sullivan would look at not be involved in an incident. He is, and crucially, He's involved in an incident with Sean McClements and Ronan Doherty as well, and that is going to be disastrous for all three Team DDR cars because there could be a penalty in that one for Dylan McClements. That's shaken up the top five, certainly that Kevin Joyce, Leo Richardson, a handful of spots. More importantly for the race win, however, Jason Smith, he spoke about picking. Oh no, they have crashed. Oh no, it's disastrous. Off the circuit goes Tony Stack, and just as I was complimenting them too, they hashed and lost a handful of places. But now let's keep an eye on the race win. Oh, Jason Smith, big break for Smith. Begging for Jason Smith because Peter McCann now has the advantage heading through Stavelo. He's ran wide himself, mind you. Jason Smith, I don't think, is going to have the slipstream or at least a big enough advantage heading into the bus stop chicane. I think even he might lose second position to Rory O'Shea. That mistake through Campus, the first mistake we saw Jason Smith make tonight in qualifying, might be the last one he's going to make and the most crucial one he's going to make. The race win is gone now for Jason Smith. It's going to be about getting second. He is going to stay in front through the bus stop chicane. Peter McCann comes through the final corner. He stands on the podium for the first time in the LMP2 Cup. And he's going to stand and take a win in the LMP2 Cup for the first time. Peter McCann holds on to a brilliant, brilliant victory ahead of Jason Smith in second. Jason will hold on to second, ahead of Rory O'Shea in third. Brandon McCaughton will come home in fourth. Dylan McClements in fifth, Kevin Joyce sixth, Leo Richardson in seventh. That's a little bit of makeshift confetti across the line. Ronan Doherty and Sean McClements eighth and ninth. And then CJ O'Sullivan, unfortunately, will only take a 12th place finish. Undeserved. Definitely deserved more, did CJ O'Sullivan. Ran a great race, very strong. Ironically, it's the first heat free, but he won't get a top 10 finish in so far this season. Peter McCann, wow. We're going to have to ask him about that incident heading through the chicane. I think it was strong racing, personally, but we'll get Peter's take on it. But a really, really great job from him to stay in front and to take his first win of the season. Last season, he didn't take a win. Mustang America's Cup didn't take a win. And Peter McCann is going to enjoy every second of this one, I imagine. A Heat 3 win as well. Definitely the best kind to win. We'll hopefully hear from him in a moment as we get clarification of our full race results. Peter McCann takes the race win ahead of Jason Smith in second. Then it is Rory O'Shea, Brandon McCaughton, Dylan McClements, Kevin Joyce, Leo Richardson. Then in eighth position, it is Ronan Doherty, Sean McClements, Logan Hoy, Enda Farrell, CJ O'Sullivan, Ken Doyle ahead of TJ Taff, Tony Stack, Finley Melvin, Dermot Toomey, Jamal Gandor. And then in 19th spot, Philip Upson ahead of Brian McCarthy, Robbie Callahan. And then it is Gary Corcoran, David Prunty, Sebastian Schloten, and of course no showing from Kyle Irvine. Let's have a chat then with Peter McCann. Peter, congratulations. First win in a long time. You must be buzzing with that.
I am buzzing. I'm just looking at the watch on my arm here, 146 beats per minute.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know. I thought Jason had me in the last lap there, but he just made a little mistake. And once that happened, I knew I had that 7 or 8 tenths. And we were going to get there eventually.
We saw a little bit of an incident between the two of you as well, just on the exit of the Lake Home chicane heading through Malmedy. What's your take on that one?
So I wasn't giving up the position, but it looks like we both looked back and it's neck code. So he was trying to keep it tight to me, and I wasn't giving up the apex either. So it's just we touched. We were lucky not to end up on the wall, but it all played out okay.
We're just looking back at it on the stream. You actually are both lucky not to end up in the wall. You took the race lead early on, then built a bit of a gap ahead of CJ O'Sullivan. When you built that gap, what was the thinking? Was there any point where you thought, yeah, I can win this?
Yeah, I don't want to think like that early on in the race, but of course it was coming across. Everyone was saying, "You're gone. You have it. But yeah, I could see Ronan and Jason pitching. I think Ronan had a bit of damage, so he wasn't kind of fit to move up with Jason. But once Jason got by CJ, I was just counting the time that he was going to be on me. But he was saying that he wasn't actually used to the dirty air, I suppose. So he was saying it was a big struggle. Once he got it within that 3 or 4 tenths, it was a disaster for him.
Well, Peter, congratulations and a really job well done there. Hopefully, we see you back top of the pedestal soon.
Yeah, let's keep it going. Yeah, thanks a million, guys.
It's nice to hear from Peter at a time that isn't the season finale for once. Let's hear from the second place man, Jason Smith. Then, Jason, really good efforts to almost take the race win, but you just missed out narrowly.
Yeah, no, it just wasn't meant to be, really, to be honest, from the get go. But fair play to Peter, he didn't make any mistakes, and I was bit gut with myself with some of the little minor mistakes I made, but that's racing.
Yeah, Peter was saying you both felt that incident on the exit of the chicane was a bit of netcode.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of netcode. Yeah, we were never really gonna touch, and then we just touched. That's iRacing, but nothing we can do about it. It was good close racing, and caught Peter on the last lap, but then I didn't really expect him to break as early as he did, and then I nearly went into the back of him. But I don't know, it was a pretty good points haul. So yeah, good weekend.
And just to finally answer the question for everyone out there, what's more fun, dominating races or races like that?
I don't know. I'd say dominating races. To be honest, it's less stressful. Doesn't take as many years off your life. So
Jason, congratulations on the 2 wins in the second place.
perfect. Thanks very much, guys.
And now let's hear from third place, Rory O'Shea. Rory, congratulations, another podium. You kind of came from nowhere in the middle of the race, had a sudden surge of pace.
Yeah, I was kind of stuck behind Sean, but then I think a few people might got slowed down to something because I gained 2 positions on 1 lap, and then I got past CJ, and then I thought I nearly had the lead then once Jason and Peter got together, but that didn't come to me. But I'm happy enough with third, to be honest. I didn't think I'd get any higher than seventh halfway through the race, so it worked out pretty well in the end.
With Jason making that mistake in the last lap, you got very close. Was there any temptation to maybe chuck one up the inside and get revenge for Imola last week?
It's very, very, very difficult to do it at that corner, especially he going around the outside. Like, he defended the inside, and I think I don't want to be making enemies at this stage of the championship yet, especially not with Jason. So I think we'll try to keep it clean and just see if we can maybe pick up some more points on him and Ronan throughout the rest of the season.
And then in terms of a championship position, you were second coming into tonight and then had a very good point haul. You've certainly caught up to Dylan McClemens. Is there any longer ambition there? Sorry, I think I've lagged a bit on your end. I'll repeat that one. In terms of the championship position, very strong points haul for you to tonight. You were second coming in, and you've caught up to Dylan. Is there any championship ambition there?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think there's at least 4 of us in that championship fight between me, Dylan, Jason, and Ronan. So I think it could be between any of us. But I definitely think I definitely think it's well doable. I know some of the lads have missed rounds already, and Dylan had a pretty poor day today. So I definitely think it's well possible to get a championship.
Rory, thank you very much for talking to us, and congratulations.
Thank you.
That, of course, rounds out our interviews for tonight, folks. And now it is the difficult task of driver of the day. There's a lot of good nominees tonight. I'm gonna put forward 2 names. Obviously, folks, just in case you're new here, we don't pick the front runners on purpose. So we don't pick Jason Smith, for example, who won 2 heats. I'm going to put forward 2 nominees, 1 CJ O'Sullivan, 1 Leo Richardson. Not sure if Ronan Hederman has any opinion on that. Let's see, is there any suggestions in the stream chat?
Yeah, there
One
is.
for CJ O'Sullivan.
Shannon Murphy has nominated CJ O'Sullivan. I think CJ had such a good race. It's a pity he finished down in 12th, but like for him to get a strong start, even though Peter got that unbelievable pass in the first lap, he held his own for quite a long time. So I would be willing to give it to CJ O'Sullivan. Do you have anybody else?
No, I think CJ a good pick. I would have gone Leo, but he did make that mistake under his own accord in heat number 3, which is disappointing for him. But I'm going to go CJ O'Sullivan. Might act as a bit of a pick-me-up as well after being slightly robbed of a very strong result there in heat number 3. But a job well done for CJ. So that rounds up our coverage tonight, folks. We have probably one of my favourite tracks ever next week. It is Le Mans, and I imagine that one is going to be an absolute cracker. Can you imagine 4 wide down the Mulsanne? Because I can. You can tune into that one, of course, on the 10th of December next week at 9 p.m. as always. A big thanks for tuning in. A big thanks for sticking with us here for tonight's racing. We will hopefully see you next week. And thank you very much to Ronan Hederman, as always, behind the scene. My name's been Evan Dalton. If you want to check out the points or any incidents, you can on rtavirtualmotorsport.com. Make sure as well to check out our title sponsors at Motorsport.ie. A big thanks to Leo and team, as always. And you can check out all the Irish racing news there. There's an awards night tomorrow or someday this week, so you'll see plenty of reports up on there soon. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next time. Slán go fóill.